Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie, keeper of my home. For those that are new here, welcome, welcome. I have had a little bit of a break. I've been taking a break since about April. We have been living life joyfully. So I'm back today to do a garden tour. And I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna be as raw and uncut as I've ever done. I'm gonna try not to edit very much. So that's hard to do because, you know, sometimes when you're talking on the camera, you mess up something or you forget something or you go back or, you know, what have you. And so I'm gonna do my best to try and not have to do too much editing on this. So it may look a little bit different. You might be seeing me not pause my camera in between moving from one point of view to another. So I'm here in my garden. I promised a garden tour. Now I'm going to tell you that our lawn is not mowed. It needs mowing in a bad way. It has been raining so much. Actually, my bottom is going to be wet because I'm sitting on the side of the garden bed, and it rained all day yesterday. Heavy, heavy rains and through the night, so it's wet here. The garden is wet, but it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. You can hear the birds. Can you hear the birds? I love that sound. It's quite early. It's probably between 5:30 and 6. I love mornings. Usually my eyes are open by 5 and this is where I want to be. So we're just gonna go around. I'm gonna show you a little bit of everything. I don't know like the garden terms for everything, but I'm gonna show you what we're growing. It's not fully weeded. It's pretty, it's just what it is. So it's not the perfect garden tour. Some of those you see on YouTube, they're beautiful. Mine is not that. So let's just get started. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna take you without stopping and cutting here. Let's start with this bed. This is where the garlic was. And we pulled the garlic and we planted some cucumbers because we did not get many cucumbers this year. I don't know if we'll even get to the point of them fruiting. I don't know, but we put them in anyway. And we also grew some more green beans because ours are just about dying out. And so we just did a new planting of those. Those may come, not sure. It's mid-August, so I don't know. Time will tell. We do have an overflow of cabbage here, and we have some beets here. I actually did really good about weeding or thinning my beets this year, which was startling because it's not usually my forte. I don't usually end up getting out here to thin them very much, but I did. I made it a practice this year. So these are some beets, and we pretty much can everything that we grow. You can see the beets are getting pretty good size, not too bad. Some are bigger than others. You see that? I don't know if you can see my hand, kind of makes it hard to focus. We pretty much harvest and preserve everything in our garden. It's not that often that we eat fresh from the garden. I know that sounds crazy. We do our zucchini, summer squash, some cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, things like that. But the beets, the carrots, the squash, the green beans, those kind of things. Bugs are bad this morning after the rain. We preserve those. Might eat one feed of green beans. I think that's all we've had this year. Pretty much we preserve everything because this is all food for winter. That's how we like to think of it. So let's move along. All right. Here we have some, it's what they call the three sisters. Squash, corn, and green beans. They're all buried in there. Back in the day, the Indians, that's how they used to plant theirs, and I love that. I've always wanted to do it, so I did it this year. There's some squash. It's hard to see. My hand gets in the way, it kind of blurs it out. There's some squash. We really don't have a lot of squash here that has produced because we are lacking pollinators, really. We haven't had a lot of bees this year, so things are not getting pollinated like they should. I've been hand pollinating a lot, but as you could probably tell, that's kind of hard to do. This is corn, and it's a decorative corn. It's the kind you put out at, seasonally, like Thanksgiving in time and such. I didn't plant sweet corn. We just wanted to try something different. We're not big corn eaters, so this I can decorate with, and so that's what I planted. That's all in there. You can see what a big bed, huh? And there's some green beans hanging down there. So you never pick green beans in the wet weather, in the rain, because then you'll get rust on your beans. So I don't pick in the mornings like these. Okay, this is zucchini. Zucchini, although it looks really great right now, I mean, it's huge. Look at it. I mean, that's a 4x4 bed, and you can barely see the bed because it's just kind of just blossomed right out there. It's beautiful. We planted that a couple of times. It was slow coming. We are finally getting some fruit on it. We hadn't for quite a while. You can see there's one there. There's a few in there. Again, it's a pollinating problem. We are not getting many bees, so it's been an issue. But we have been getting, a few as of late, getting a few zucchini, so that's great. These are my cabbage. I harvested a couple of them yesterday, making sauerkraut with those, and love cabbage, and that's mainly what we do with it. Okay, and over here, onions. Onions are not doing good at all this year, at all. They're struggling horribly. They're not getting a lot of size. I'm not sure. They keep falling out. I'm not sure if that'll grow back in or not. Birds have gotten to them. The weeds. Oh, I'm telling you, trying to keep ahead of these weeds this year has been enormous for us. I usually come out about 15 minutes every morning, but we've had so much rain. It's been crazy here. All right, I'm going to move over to this bed. This is carrots. See lots of carrots here. And you will see throughout our garden lots of calendula flowers. So those I plant to pull in pollinators, and also to, we use them. I use them in shampoo. I use them in salves, oils, different stuff. They're medicinal, and I love them. You can eat them as well. These are tomatoes. These are a mix of, look at those birds. Can you see those birds over there? Let's see if you can see those birds playing on the tree. Are they beautiful? Glorious. Beautiful, beautiful birds. They're loving it here in the garden. Every morning it's like that. They're literally about 5 feet away from me, and they're just not scared at all. Okay, so back to the tomatoes. These are both cherry and, I don't know if it's Best Boy and Romas. There's a little bit of a mix in here. So we enjoy all of these. And then this arbor, we usually have stuff crawling up the arbor, but as you can see, it is crawling down besides the raised beds. So that bed is squash, and there's not a lot growing on it. And previously I did say that we have been having trouble with pollinators. I think Joe found one squash on here. Yep, here it is right here. There's one there. We love our squash. Love our squash. It's probably one of our favorite things here in the garden, but it's just not doing well. Not at all. So, we have some Brussels sprouts here. Joe needs to go over these and remove some of the leaves so that they can, the plant can put energy towards growing Brussels sprouts and not so much leaves. So he'll be doing that at some point. There's some cabbage hidden in here. We had a lot of extra cabbage. We plant a lot of our stuff in our basement greenhouse. We plant it in there and start everything and then bring it out into the garden when the time is right. Again, we have a lot of calendula flowers. We have a lot of tomatoes, beautiful, beautiful tomatoes. A lot of Romas in this bed, I believe. These are mostly all Romas. Lots of tomatoes. We love those. And then on the other end of this one, we have peppers. These are all kinds of different peppers. We have these out here, and we also have some in the greenhouse. These are called Fire and Ice. How cute those are. They're just little bitty. My husband wanted to plant some of those, so we did. You can see we did a second planting of carrots here too, because we don't have a lot of carrots in the garden. So we have been putting them everywhere else. We pull things out, replace, we're putting in anything we didn't grow a lot of. Okay, so more peppers. There's a big guy right there. Those are doing very nicely. Okay, let's move over to this bed. These are leeks, and they're coming along. And more beets, and that's the extent of our beets. The beets are doing really well, actually. This bed seems to be doing really, really well. So, and like I said, I've been thinning them out, and that really helps a lot when you thin them out. All right. This bed is full of cucumbers. These are, I pulled some yesterday. Let's see. There's one right there. A few different ones. Oh, there's a bird just flew out of them. All right. There's another cucumber down there. There's a few of them in here. Just have to look. They're playing hide and seek. There's some green beans, more calendula. My husband has just cursed that calendula this year. He's not happy with it. It literally just keeps coming back. I didn't plant any this year. This is all coming back from last year. There's some rutabaga. My husband likes that as opposed to turnips, so he grows that. I love to see a full bed. Everything's growing. Everything's growing really well. For the most part, outside of the pollinators. You know, it's not producing a lot of fruit, but that's pollination. It's not because it's not growing well, because everything really is growing well, as you can see. It's just we're not getting the bees. So, let's see here. It's a beautiful place to be early in the morning. All right, let's go to the greenhouse. We're going to go around this way. Oh, and I forgot to show you. This is our newest bed. You can see my shadow here. Let me get out of my way. This is our newest bed. This is all asparagus. There's 30 asparagus plants in here. We planted those this year. And hopefully in a few years we will have some asparagus, which we absolutely love. There's some green in here and some purple. This is our compost. And let me just show you. Look what's growing in here. It's full of tomatoes. Joe hasn't the heart to do anything with them, so he's let them grow. All right, and the greenhouse. Gosh, guys, the greenhouse. First, I'm going to show you outside of the greenhouse here. There's some peppers growing. And then inside, this is delicata squash. And look at those tomatoes. They are indeterminates, and we didn't plant one of them, not one. They all came back from last year. So, I mean, they're crazy in here. They're growing underneath of here. They're everywhere. So we didn't bother taking any of them down. We've left them here. It's just going to be hard to see anything else because they've gone crazy. We do have some Brussels sprouts here that are growing. Joe has removed some of the leaves on those. Look at this. This is my favorite. Eggplant. We have eggplant growing. Love that. It likes heat and it takes a long time to mature. So the greenhouse is where it's at. All right, let me see if I can show you some of this delicata. No, there's one down there. Can you see it? It's gonna be hard to see because it's gonna focus on the leaves in front of it. But it's down there. Yeah. There's quite a few in here. They're just really hidden and hard to see. And like I said, there's a lot of tomatoes. I'm not going to climb to the back of this. I'm just going to try to move my camera through. So many tomatoes and so much squash. Back there, there are some green beans. There's a couple potted pepper plants. There's some beautiful, beautiful peppers over here. That's paprika peppers, red peppers, green peppers, different peppers. All right, this is the back of the greenhouse, and over here we have aronia berry plants. It's just a type of berry that has a lot of antioxidants. They haven't fruited yet. They're probably, this is their third year, I believe. Some of them. I have one there, I have one there, and one there, and one here. I could have had one somewhere else, but when my husband was mowing, all he saw was green. This is my other blueberry. I put it over here because there was more room. There was a fence on this side, the back side of the garden, but we took it down. It was falling down. It really needed to be replaced. So we just kept this piece up here, but I mean that'll be replaced along with the rest of it, but we just haven't done it yet. You can see, so there's three sides, that side and the back side that we have got to put up. The original fence came to just the back side of the aronias. Since we took it down, we've planted further back because we're going to extend this area a little further back. You can see this goes into the pasture that we're not using this year. Lots of goldenrod back there. We'll bring it all the way back, and if we get cows next year, well then the cows will be in this pasture. So let's let me show you everything here. These are raspberries. I'm gonna say they're raspberries and they're weeds. We got a lot of raspberries, and I did weed through earlier in the year. I haven't since, because honestly I saw what looked like a snake in there, and I said, you know what, those weeds don't need to be weeded out too awfully bad. They can stay in there, and so can that happy little snake, because I am not going to bother with it. That's what I said. So I wore my big girl boots every morning out here in this garden, as I have on today. You can see. And yeah, that's called snake preparedness. So I did get some raspberries off there, and or the girls would come out and they'd pick. They ate more than they picked, but more than they kept, but that's okay. That's the fun of being able to raise food on your land. Okay, so like I said, those were the aronias. These are, this one and this one over here are elderberries. This is the third year for these elderberry as well. I don't know. I don't know what kind of soil. It says that they're really not that picky, but they're really not growing that well either. And they were just like maybe 2 inches tall when I planted them. So I guess they're doing well. I don't know. Over here I have wisteria. That is wisteria. Now that was climbing across the fence because that was right at the corner post, but removing the fence doesn't have anything to climb. So we've really got to get that fence back or something that it can climb on. And then of course we have our trees. These are just trees that we dug up. We have live near a forest. Just went through and picked a few of the that type of tree and planted those just as a border. That's our son's home over there. And this is a volunteer hawthorn tree. We love hawthorn tea. It's very good for you, so I was glad to see that pop up. This is a Fuji apple tree that we planted last year. It seems to be doing pretty well. And look at this. This is the first time this tree has blossomed and produced fruit. We are thrilled. Look how heavy that branch is. We are thrilled with this tree. It's just peppered. They're really not much for size, but wow. They've got apples all over this tree, and love it. I don't remember what kind of apples these are, but they'll be good regardless of what the name of them are. And this tree is full of apples, and that tree is full of apples. So this is the first time this orchard has produced fruit, so we're very excited. This is a yellow delicious. So that'll produce at some point when it gets up there. It's only a year old, so it's got a little ways to go. I believe this is a yellow delicious as well. I don't know. I keep telling my husband, I'm going to say my husband thinks it's yellow delicious. I want to say it's transparent, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I know it's already dropping apples. So that's sad. I mean, it has a few on there, so we'll see what they do. Another apple tree, I'm not sure what these are. Those are quite a bit smaller, quite a bit. So there's not as many apple trees out here as typical because we had a couple of them die last winter. This is a pear tree, and this is a pear tree. This is a Seckel pear, I believe, and this is a Asian pear. These just got planted earlier this spring because 2 of our pear trees died. Oh gosh, they were 4 years old and they died. Don't know whether it was fire blight or what it was, but they didn't survive. So we had to dig them up and start all over again. So this is the garden. This is the view here. This is our little, just our food growing area. We love having it here. We love being able to come out. This is really our favorite place to go to in the summer. Over here on the arbor, those are grapes. They've never produced. They're probably 3 years old. But, someday, I hope. All right, I'm running out of battery. I think I have like 14% on there, so I don't have another one on me. So let's just go over to the other side because I want to show you something new. Can you guys see what I'm going to show you? This is our front lawn, and see, it sits right in front of the house, in the rock wall, which can't barely see the rock wall because it's so weeded, you know, full of weeds. It needs to be mowed and cleaned. But I finally convinced my husband to let me plant trees on this front lawn. He likes to keep it clear because it's easier to mow, but I wanted to grow food, more food. So this year we planted, this is an Empire apple tree, and this one is Wolf River. And then we have another one, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, right here. That is a Honeycrisp apple tree. And then we have a peach tree here, and a peach tree here. Reliance and Contender, I believe. And then way over, can't believe how colored those leaves are getting on that peach tree. It's already starting to turn. I hate to see that happen. This is cherry tree. And then there's another one right here. So, yeah, we're going to grow more food on this side. And when we moved here, this tree line was always here. There was always a tree line here. This was actually this whole area was an empty field. Years ago, it was a potato field. My husband's father is was a retired potato farmer, and this was all farmland. While, you know, forming our landscape and everything, and, you know, figuring out where our yard was going to be, what we were going to mow, we came across a discovery. See what we discovered? Can you see? Blackberries. Lots of blackberries. As a matter of fact, look how many blackberries we have here. This whole, I'm going to pull out here and show you, this whole area is all blackberries. The entire thing. Joe and I were out picking yesterday. We picked, oh my gosh, we picked so many blackberries, and there's still so many more. Tons more. All the way up. All the way up. And it goes all the way around and in behind. So many, many, many blackberries. I mean, just, it's crazy. God provides. He provides. And boy, when he provides, he goes big, doesn't he? Beautiful, beautiful blackberries. So we use a lot of blackberries in anything we can think. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Look at those. Okay. We also have an orchard up here. I'm just going to pan around really quick and show that to you. So if you see, there's our home and there's our driveway. There is the garden area and greenhouse, and this is our lawn orchard, I guess you can call it. If you pan all the way around, you can see this is the other orchard that we have. This is orchard is probably 30 years old. My Cortland apple tree is over there. That's my favorite tree. That's the one where we get the really big pie apples. So that orchard runs right along the edge of our driveway. We used to live over here in the farmhouse where our son lives now. And before I forget, I'm not going to go up and show you, but I will tell you, there's probably 3 or 4 hazelnut trees that we found up through there. And there's also some chokecherry bushes. So our land is filled with blessings. As I'm walking over to the potager, look at these. These are really, really tall. I don't know if I can show you just how tall they are. They're really tall. Because this is me down here, and this is those that go up quite high. These are Golden Glow, and I have these planted here because they remind me of my grandparents' house when I was little. They had these growing all around their home, and I remember how little I was, and they seemed like they were just great big huge flowers that kind of like sunflowers, and just brings back a memory. So plant something that brings back a memory. In front of our house, you can see that this is my potager, filled with all kinds of flowers. Some medicinal, some just beautiful. There's some lemon balm, there's some chocolate mint, all kinds of things over here. And in this little wheelbarrow, we have some sage, we have some thyme, we have some weeds, we have some chamomile, lots and lots of different things. Just some, I let it grow this year. I just let it grow because I had planted some stuff last year. I didn't remember where I planted it, and I thought, well, let's see what's in here. So you can see we've got some buckets out here. They climb this nice arbor. There we go. Lots of cherry tomatoes. And 4 beds that we have back here. And this is the kitchen garden. This is literally filled with arugula, parsley, just different stuff. There's dill. This one we pulled the spinach out of here. We put some strawberries in there because the spinach had gone by. Lettuce is almost all gone by in here. So we've been picking from this all summer long. It's been wonderful. Like I said, this is dill and cilantro. That's what that is. I do have some winter savory, some basil in here. I think I have some oregano. There's just a few things in here. I know it looks a mess. This has been a hard garden to weed, and there's always so much to do, so I don't always get to it. And you know what? I don't mind. The food is still growing in here. So over here you can see, look at my lemon balm. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. It's just gone wild, and it loves life. This is lovage. That's like a celery. You can use it like a celery. You can take the leaves off and dry it and add that to your soups and stews. It tastes wonderful. You wouldn't know the difference between that and celery when you're doing that. This is chocolate mint. Love that. That makes tea taste like hot cocoa in the winter. So I love that. There's all kinds of it here. Let's see another one right there. I let it go because last year I didn't have much of it, and I said, well, I've got to have that come back. So it has come back wonderfully. It's just filled this whole area over here, and I love that. There's some bee balm. There's some phlox. There's all kinds of stuff here. There's lots and lots of weeds too, but that's okay. It's our garden, and we love it. I mean, all in all, I think that the garden is doing really well. Outside the fact that I haven't had a lot of bees. I haven't had a lot of rain. Lots of rain. In June, we had 5 good days. Maybe 6. It's like 5 good days. July, we had a few better days. And August has proven to be another rainy month. So, I mean, it's been tough getting out here. I mean, when I say rain, I mean pouring rain, thunder, lightning. I've never seen a summer like this. So, lots and lots of stuff going on as far as weather. But gosh, this garden is beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. I love a garden. Doesn't matter to me if it's full of weeds. It's a place where I can go and just work around and just love what I do. I love a garden. It's the most peaceful place for me and the best place to seek God, the garden. I want to thank you for joining me, and I'm glad to be back. This has been fun. I'm really glad to be back, and I know that I have truly missed you guys. So I hope you enjoy your day. Be blessed, and I'll see you in the next one.